Hey, y'all, we're going to get started this evening here if y'all take your seats. I apologize, we don't have a microphone system in here, so we're just going to have to all project tonight. That works for y'all. All righty, just a couple announcements before we get started. First and kind of most importantly, please keep your mask over your nose the entire time during the proceedings, or one of our advisors will come and remind you and potentially upon a second or third time ask you to leave. So just be mindful of that, be respectful of our university policies, and yeah. A quick reminder from me, when voting, I don't know if this was made explicitly clear, but you have three options. You can say aye, which means yes, no, or abstain. So abstaining is going on the record as the third column. So it's neither a yes or a no, just, you know, you don't feel like you know enough about it or don't want to take a position on it. So those are your three options for voting. And then really quickly, just the purpose of the committee of the whole. Hang on, we've got the purpose of committee of the whole is in the event that we have legislation that comes up after the rules committee meeting on Thursdays, you are still allowed to write legislation and motion for going into committee of the whole at formal Senate. Usually this is reserved for pressing matters, things that just cannot wait until the next meeting. As you all know, tonight it's addressing the Faculty Senate's COVID-19 resolution. So that's the purpose of it. Are there any questions about that? Great. It's essentially just a big version of your committee meeting, you know, where everybody kind of votes on it, except it does eventually go into the Senate record as a passed or failed resolution. So that's the only difference. So any questions about that? All right. I'm going to go to President Pro Tempore Osmond to make one quick announcement before we get started.
Hey y'all, I hope y'all are all doing well. Real quick, I just wanted to say that I understand there's going to be a lot of different opinions about tonight's topic, which I am excited to hear. But I just want to remind y'all to please be as respectful as possible. We are not here to tear apart somebody else's beliefs. You all have your beliefs for certain reasons. So please be respectful to one another. Also remember that when you're doing debate, you cannot say Senator Denton. You can't say anybody's name. You can say a previous senator to address a previous senator's comments in response to his previous senator's concerns. Yada, yada, yada. Do not say their name. If you do, then you will be called out for parliamentary procedure. But other than that,
awesome. Any questions before we call the meeting to order? Great. All right. I now call to order the September 14th meeting of the Associated Student Body Senate at 7:05 p.m. We will now have a moment of silence given by Senator D'Aquila. Thank you. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance given by Senator Wall. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now have the clerk call roll.
Inlaw. Here. Ashmore. Here. Beard. Here. Burgess. Here. Cooper. Here. D'Aquila. Here. DeBell. Here. Day. Here. Dedman. Here. Dermody. Here. Drury. Here. Gillen. Here. Gully. Here. Harris. Here. Hertz. Here. Hollowell. Here. Howell. Here. Jackson. Here. Johnson. Here. Jensbergen. Here. Kelly. Here. King. Tyson King. Jonah King. Amelia Ladner. Here. Taylor Lampkin. Lopez. Here. Madsen. Here. McClendon. Here. Miles. Here. Monroe. Here. Murphy. Here.
Neighbors. Here. Nelson.
Here.
Osmond. Here. Patterson.
Here.
Ricketts. Here. Roby. Roebuck. Here. Ross. Here. Ryan. Here. Saloon.
Here.
Scott. Here. Stranger.
Here.
Wall. Here. Watts. Here. Williams.
Here.
Wilson. Here. Wink. Here. Wood.
Here.
All right, thank you, Secretary Hayward. We will now move into a period of reports. If you have nothing to report, please say no reports. The Committee on Rules.
The Committee on Rules has approved the consideration of the expulsion of Senator Jim.
Thank you. The Committee on GovOps.
The Committee on Government Operations is currently writing the legislation on the suggested code changes from the Department of Justice, specifically Titles 2 and 3.
Thank you. The Committee on Inclusion and Cross-Cultural Engagement.
No reports.
The Committee on Athletics.
No reports.
The Committee on Student Life.
No reports.
The Committee on Infrastructure.
No reports.
The Committee on Academics.
No reports.
The Committee on External Affairs.
Yeah, so I do have a report. So last Friday, I was in talks with the head of Oxford Infrastructure about the transportation hub idea. So that's planning on going through. I have negotiations with the taxi companies on Thursday about trying to get that pushed through because they were the main opposition. Wanted to give you guys an update. When we get to the Alderman meeting bit, I'll throw that out there for everyone so you guys can pop out for it. But besides that, no reports.
Thank you. We will now hear reports from Legislation Monitor Miller on the routing of past legislation.
We have officially begun routing. Routing has been shifted to a service called PandaDoc in order to collect virtual signatures this term. Senate Bill 2115 was signed by Committee Chair Maddie Ryan, Secretary Hayward, Vice President Swinger, President Atkins, and DNC Dr. Marsh on September 10th. Routing progress continues to be updated in the shared drive. Legislation to be discussed in committee of the whole, Senate Resolution 21-2CW was sent out to the legislative branch and is read on September 12th. And the newest edition of the Senatorial Comment, Volume 13, was published on September 13th.
Thank you. We will now hear a report from Executive Liaison Hall on behalf of ASB President Atkins.
As of right now, the University of Mississippi is not doing enough in preventing the spread of COVID-19. We've been wearing masks for months and encouraging our peers to be vaccinated, but we lack the institutional support to make a genuine impact on our community. Our safety as students is on the line. Oxford residents are putting themselves at risk by being near us, and not just has been capacity for weeks. No one wants to go back to last year, and the best way to prevent that is by passing this resolution. The Faculty Senate has already made its stance clear, and we have the opportunity to present a united front to the people who are making these decisions, like the IHL. It is also important to remember that it's not just the university making a choice about our health, but we are making a public statement about our health to both state and local leaders. We have an opportunity to prove that students care about their own, we have an opportunity to prove that students care about their own health and the health of their community. We're at a turning point that could change campus for the better, and it's crucial that we act in unison. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. All right. And then finally, we will hear a report from Campus Liaison Newsom on constituency engagement opportunities as well as student opinions submitted to the Senate.
Constituency and engagement opportunities are posted in the newsletter, and there were no student forms submitted.
Thank you. All right. I will now hear a motion to dissolve this assembly into a committee of the whole for the consideration of a resolution not previously approved by the Senate Standing Committee on Rules.
Motion.
Senator Ryan,
Motion to dissolve this assembly into the committee of the whole.
I've heard that motion. Is there a second? If there are no objections, the Senate Assembly will now dissolve into a committee of the whole for consideration of a resolution. All right. At the conclusion of the committee on the whole, Senate proceedings will then be reconvened in order to hear the report of the President pro tempore regarding the findings of the committee of the whole. Therefore, this assembly stands dissolved at 7:11 p.m. During the proceedings of the committee of the whole, the President pro tempore of the Senate shall serve as the committee's chair.
I now call to order this committee of the whole at 7:11 p.m. The clerk will now call roll.
Ashmore.
Here.
Beard. Here. Burgess. Here. Cooper. Sequilla. Here. DeBelle.
Here.
Day.
Here.
Dedmon.
Here.
Durbin.
Here.
Drury. Here. Gillen.
Here.
Gully.
Here.
Harris. Here. Hertz. Here. Caldwell.
Here.
Howell.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Johnson. Here. Jonesverde. Here. Kelly. Here. King. Ladner.
Here.
Lampkin. Lopez.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
McClendon.
Here.
Miles.
Here.
Monroe.
Here.
Murphy.
Here.
Neighbors. Here. Nelson.
Here.
Osmond. Patterson.
Here.
Ricketts. Here. Roby. Here. Roebuck. Here. Ross. Here. Ryan. Here. Saloon.
Here.
Scott. Here. Stringer.
Here.
Wall. Here. Watts. Here. Williams.
Here.
Wilson. Here. Wink. Here. Wood.
Here.
I will now entertain a motion to introduce new legislation. Is there such a motion?
Motion.
Senator Ryan,
Motion to introduce for consideration a resolution of the Associated Student Body Senate recognizing the University of Mississippi Faculty Senate resolution on the University of Mississippi COVID-19 vaccination policy, and that this resolution may be numbered and entered into the record as Senate Resolution 21-2 CW.
is there a second? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. It is in my opinion that the ayes have it. Thus, this resolution shall be renumbered as Senate Resolution 20-2 CW and shall be duly introduced for consideration. During this time, the procedure of the committee will adhere to Senate procedure for the consideration of the bills and constitutional amendments. Thus, we will now move into a period of author presentation. Is there an author present for SR 21-2 CW?
Yes.
You will have 5 minutes to introduce your legislation.
Ready to go?
You may begin.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit of my expertise as external affairs, what I've been seeing over these past 2 years. What we are in is a public health crisis. I saw it last year. I was working with the mayor on COVID-19, and these are cases that we have not seen before. The worst case numbers we've ever had was 84 in November. What we had a week ago was 74. What we're looking at right now is a horrible health crisis. The hospital, that's the metric that the mayor uses usually for every single thing. When we're looking at COVID, all last year said the hospital ICU beds, we have some, we are okay. We do not have any ICU beds right now. We need to reach out to the National Guard, go get an emergency hospital. This is a healthcare crisis. What we're looking at is 40 new cases every single day. On weekends, when they don't test for a while, it's 70 cases. The amount of vaccinations that we have are not reaching the limit for what we need. This is a health care crisis. The ICU is full. You have to wait 3 hours to get stitches. There is no hope in sight right now because all we're going to keep doing is getting more and more case numbers. And what do you think Mayor Tannehill is going to do? What do you think the Grove is going to happen? What do you think the student life that we've enjoyed for these 3 or 4 weeks is going to go? It's going to go straight back to how it was. What we need is we need an actionable solution, and we need to have proper ways to do this. And the best way to get COVID on, and the best way to get back to the Grove and get back to having the good time that Ole Miss and this entire family is looking forward to, is to make sure people get vaccinated and people take precautions.
Before I begin my part, I want to cover some important facts that are the basis of this resolution and why I decided to pursue this legislation that came to be in the first place. First, on Friday, February 26th at 1:15 p.m., Chancellor Boyce emailed students saying we will offer the fall 2021 semester as a fully in-person campus experience. that promise is not looking like it's wanted to change. They will probably not go back on this promise unless there are severe and deadly external factors that have not been accounted for at this time. Second, the Faculty Senate resolution is what this resolution primarily acknowledges, as the title of this resolution is a resolution of the Associated Student Body Senate recognizing the University of Mississippi's Faculty Senate's resolution on the University of Mississippi COVID-19 vaccination policy. Tonight's debate will fall under the assumption that that piece of legislation they wrote has been read in conjunction with the ASB resolution we have tonight. Third, the patrons of this resolution will not be pursuing debate on whether or not the vaccine is legitimate, as the Pfizer vaccine has been FDA approved since August 23rd. This is not a space for those who would like to debate science. However, as the campus is very large, I know there's some other student organizations that may be open to that type of discussion. Fourth and finally, what a resolution is. It is a non-binding call to action, or in this case, calling out the lack of action. ASB cannot require that the university and its administration do anything. That is why this is not a bill, but a resolution. We will try to keep that in that language, as we hope you will all refrain from saying bill tonight as well, but mistakes happen. Now as for what this legislation is. Suggesting a vaccine mandate and recognizing the Faculty Senate resolution, which is called for our support. Language used in this resolution can seem alarming at first glance. However, you must put this in perspective of policy and legislation. We have the opportunity to be as specific or as vague as we would like when writing this. We are specific when it comes to the word vaccine, as we say COVID-19 vaccine instead of just leaving it ambiguous. But when it comes to the mandate, we do not clarify what it means or what it looks like. Instead, we actually express that we don't know this or what it means or what it will look like by immediately calling after saying exemptions allowed by law and policy. Law obviously means like state or national ordinances, but policy is different. Policy means the design or means by whatever what university wants to do with this COVID-19 vaccine mandate to come to fruition as. Therefore, a byproduct of the vaccine requirement could be, for instance, we get a certain amount of percentage of the community members that are vaccinated and masks are no longer required, because at least that way we'd be able to know the percentage of the population that is vaccinated and what percentage puts us in an exemption. Again, this resolution is calling out the lack of action, not about the nitty-gritty details or putting a message out there. It's about putting the message out there and getting the university to acknowledge and take action. But why did we not just write, oh, please, Chancellor Boyce, do something about COVID-19? Well, the way I see it as if we do not come to the circumstances hard, we do not approach it with some sort of general direction or idea, then there's no reason why the university cannot respond saying that they have already made us wear masks or whatever, which is obviously not enough to do what Bennett has said, which is solve this public health crisis. Now, as for why the policy we've recommended, vaccine mandate is what we say in favor for. There are 4 different types of arguments that must be made for this to be sound. Is there any action necessary? Why coronavirus vaccine will combat this? Why the vaccine is the best way to combat this? And why a mandate is the best way of enforcing this? In the effort of time, I'm asking to hopefully continue that discussion of those 4 points in the period allotted for questioning. After debate tonight, we may all come to the conclusion that this resolution is what should be pursued for the betterment of not everyone in the room, but the entire Lafayette Oxford University community, and I yield the remainder of our time.
We will now move into a 15-minute period of technical questions for the authors. Is there anyone wishing to question? Senator Jones' verdict.
Does the author yield to a single question?
We do.
Maddie Ryan, would you please Maddie Ryan, would you please add anything that was left out of your author introduction?
Yes, so like I said, I'm going to speak a lot slower as I usually do. There are 4 different types of arguments that must be made. So first, is there any action necessary at all? I mean, Bennett, I think that you kind of explained that pretty well. If you want to even elaborate right now.
There needs to. Like the cases just keep getting higher. We're having people cram into the Grove every single weekend, which we all enjoy, but we all know that there's a problem there. The ICU is not getting better. Their nurses are going on strike because of the healthcare conditions. Oxford and Tannehill is in a crisis. And we saw last year how that usually goes. That means the bar shut down. That means everything in Oxford shut down. And that means there's capacity limits then. The best way we can prevent all of that stuff from happening is getting ahead of it, being proactive instead of reactive. And that's what this legislation's for.
Yeah, and so like Bennett's kind of just echoing, we have some social responsibility here. The coronavirus is real, it's bad, it's deadly, and it not only affects us, but the entire community. There's a large population here in Oxford that in the entire county that cannot be vaccinated. Those under 12 years old, those with severe other health conditions. And so it's really up to our responsibility as guests in this area to, try to be safe. But and even with that, I don't know, that's pretty much answers, is there any action necessary at all? Now, as it comes to the second point, why the coronavirus vaccine will combat this. This kind of goes into the area of discussion that I mentioned we will not be pursuing tonight, which is science. So let's just all, come to the conclusion that coronavirus vaccine is effective, that it's safe. We all know that. I know that there are lots of people in here that can also concur with that. That's not as controversial, as I know that a large part of the senators here are vaccinated. But the third thing is where it gets a little bit trickier. Why the coronavirus vaccine is the best way to combat this. Why we're not suggesting that the university go back to what the conditions were last year. So for starters, the coronavirus vaccine is cheap. Okay, like it does not take any money to go get the vaccine. It is completely free. That is kind of unbeatable. I mean, it even costs money to get a mask. Timely. It takes little to no time to receive, while the two doses are spread out between just 3 weeks or 21 days, which is high contrast to the 78 weeks we have been expected to socially distance and mask up, or whatever that means. And also, not only does it take like 21 weeks to get those 2 doses done, or 21 days, sorry, to get those 2 doses done, but it's also, I mean, I know a lot of people in here have been vaccinated. You go, they give you the shot, you wait 15 minutes, you leave with your little sticker, and you post on your Instagram or whatever you want to do. It's accessible. There are multiple locations in the area to receive vaccine. You can go to CVS, you can go to Walgreens, Kroger, and there's even a location on campus with ample supplies and technicians. It's also safe, like I've mentioned and echoed before. The FDA has approved Pfizer vaccine since August 23rd. And we all know firsthand the impact of masks and Zoom on classrooms and study, especially for marginalized groups, as well as the burden of social distancing that we have been put under. We've been asked as college students to not act like college students. And I think that we all can know from experience how that really turned out just last year. And the fourth point, why then a mandate is the best means of enforcing and making sure everyone receives the vaccine, which is also kind of answering achieving the impacts mentioned in the second and the third point, and how it's like even actually possible to mandate some sort of that COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Again, I'm going to echo what I said. I know I was talking really, really fast. But in the legislation, we write exemptions allowed by law and policy. This can be interpreted in lots of different ways. And tonight I'm asking for y'all to see it as with the policy part specifically, that the university can present a COVID-19 vaccine mandate in lots of different ways. It doesn't mean that, okay, every single person has to be vaccinated right now or else you're unenrolled and you have to send it in. It doesn't have to look like that. It can look like how I said, where, a percentage, or it can look like it where you get a waiver and if you don't want to be vaccinated. That's currently what LSU is doing right now. There are lots of different ways. And that's also very inclusive of what maybe the student body might want, because we don't know necessarily like what the entire, student body and also the community, how they exactly really feel about all of that when it comes to everyone's personal individual decision to get vaccinated. As well as we already have the infrastructure in place for immunization records, because that's already a thing at the school. Vaccines that are required currently include measles, mumps, and rubella, which are serious communicable diseases that can spread in close living and classroom environments. We already know that COVID-19 kind of falls under that group. So we already have, staff and ample past precedent to look to when it comes to immunization records. So tacking on COVID-19 would not really be an issue when we talk about the management side of it, and make sure that everyone has a vaccine, or everyone that would opt in. We do not know how this would play out, because that would be up to the university discretion, and if this is a resolution, but instruction in college life can return to normal without spreading COVID-19. You guys, Bennett said it multiple times in Morgan's statement through Ken, one of the members of this body, we have a social responsibility here. This is a public health crisis. And while the university has made the great decision to open up lots of things like in-person classes, it's socially irresponsible to go on this way that we have this past month on campus with the community and the entire university, their health and wellness in mind. So if that answers your question, I yield my time for that one.
I yield the renewal fund.
Thank you, Senator Jones' verdict. Senator Hollowell?
Senator, do you have a possible series of questions?
We do so yield.
Yes, what would you say about people that may say that IHL has already said something on this, you know, I would say that maybe the university's hands are tied on this issue?
So, great question. It's important to understand that IHL's vote the other week was in support of people, was actually in support of people getting the vaccine. They didn't mandate the vaccine, but they also never said that there couldn't be a vaccine requirement because they didn't vote on that either way. So speculation about that, I mean, they had the opportunity to have that discussion and avoided it. So, you know, I don't know, it's speculation on IHL right now. I honestly think when this is an ASB Senate resolution is not beneficial. But you know, those are the facts of the matter. Do you have anything else to say on that?
Yeah, it's like they pushed it off. So they ended up pushing it down to every single of the 8 public Mississippi universities. It's the people here in this room, it's people here on this university that ended up making that call. So there's no IHL to say yay or nay. They just chose not to say.
Yeah.
What would you say to people who may have a problem with, you know, not being able to speak to their constituents in the time that's been, you know, between y'all's proposal and today? You know, what would you say? People say, I've heard from my constituents, you know, I don't know how they feel or want me to do.
Yeah, so I think that that's, you know, essentially asking the question what student response will be. I can just speculate that a lot of students, not a lot, but you know, there's going to be a portion of students that will be upset by some sort of vaccine requirement. However, it's really important to acknowledge that there would be a lot of students that would be super grateful, especially those that are immunocompromised, that can't be vaccinated for some medical reason, that have cared for loved ones who fit into those categories. That also includes our professors on this community that go home to their children or are of above the age of 65 that are in, you know, very critical ages that are more susceptible to vaccine or to the, sorry, not the vaccine, to the virus, V words. So anyways, but regardless of that, most people on campus, I would speculate, and you can agree, Bennett, or disagree, but are probably in between that, between those two extremes. But it's important to mention we don't know how many people on this campus are already vaccinated. The administration is not tracking this. We don't know for students, for faculty, for staff. And so, like I said, this vaccine mandate could turn out to be, some sort of policy change where we do start tracking that. And that would be great because, if we're going to try to talk about how the students will respond, having a number of how many people are already vaccinated now would be a really great way to predict that. But since we don't have that information right now, that's speaking in speculation. And
I just want to go ahead and say, it's very good that you brought up that point because we are representing constituents.
Yeah.
But it's the reason why this is the committee of the whole. This is something that's fast paced. The next formal Senate would have been September 28th. And this is something that needs to be talked about right now with all the new games that are coming up and the potential super spreading events. I can probably firmly say that every single person in this room was chosen by the student body because you're a representation of their values. So I completely agree. I reached out to my constituents about this, but just know that you guys are in the embodiment of every single part of the university. So that means something.
Yeah, and as representatives, you represent the ideals that they would want if they weren't because this was so fast paced, when they're voting, they are voting in confidence that if there is an instance that you can't, get to all of your constituents and have every single person sit down and tell you their opinions, that you can make the decisions with good judgment, strong beliefs, critical thinking skills, just into entire good faith. And that you can kind of go back to precedent thinking about, the statue, that the stuff that happened with the statue, and pretty much any legislation. I mean, I don't know how many of y'all asked your constituents about like Title I changes, but like those were things that students on campus could run for. So, we have to make decisions in Senate every day that, require that our constituents can believe in us and trust us that we have that character and the ideals that they want.
Senator may pause. There are 3 minutes remaining in questioning. Senator may continue.
Thank you, Senator Hollowell. Senator Ashmore.
Do the senators yield to a possible series of questions?
We do so yield.
Okay, so first, in your resolution, you mentioned the creed, the university creed. Can you elaborate on how you think a vaccine mandate would support the creed? Kind of what you were talking about.
Yeah, for sure. So we talk about, we specifically cite nurturing the excellence in intellectual inquiry and personal character in an open and diverse environment. And I think that one thing that, the vaccine really accomplishes is it's honestly the most equitable option we have here. Because, like I said, when I was talking about like it's like, it's cheap, it's free, it's timely, it's accessible, it's safe. Social distancing and online class negatively impacted those who were like, I'm just gonna kind of flat out say it, like not the like upper middle class type of person, that were not, or it impacted those who were not like in Greek life. It impacted those negatively that were not, or that were first generation students. There's, everyone was negatively impacted, but it was significantly worse for people that fit into those marginalized groups. And the vaccine mandate does not push anyone to the side. It doesn't adversely affect one group of students over the other. And I think that really upholds like what we're saying in the creed.
Yeah, it's like open and diverse. It's been shown that the coronavirus negatively impacts groups of minority a lot more than the majority. That hits on the diversity part. And there are freshmen who haven't had a in-person college class since their junior year of high school. I would say that ties into a lot of the open part. I see a lot of this legislation as being proactive in trying to ensure that we continue on the path that we are, with continue to open up and continue to give all of our constituents a chance to have a normal college experience.
Point of parliamentary procedure.
Yes. On that point.
Or like whatever it's called, sorry. Can the authors make a motion to extend questioning?
I'm good.
We're good.
Okay.
If there are no objections, we will be extending questioning by 7.5 minutes. All right. Questions? Senator Wink.
Will the authors yield to a possible series of questions?
We do so yield.
So I know after the Greek life just had their big day and all that, and we just had our first day in a row, we're going to expect a lot of rise in cases that we're going to see. And I know that with the COVID-19, it's not safe for people to get the vaccine 30 days until after they've had it. And I know a lot of students on campus, with the fear of going back to online classes, aren't going to get tested and aren't going to report that they did have the virus and stuff like that. So I was just kind of going to wonder, what's y'all's plan on making sure that these people that you're going to mandate the vaccine, if it's safe for them to get it? Because they said it's not safe for them to get the vaccine, but if they're not going to report they had it, and then we're going to mandate the vaccine, and they're getting it. I feel like there's like a lot of gray area there. And also wrapping that to the financial cost of it. If you're going to do that, we should mandate an antibodies test for all of them to take before the vaccine to make sure it's safe. An antibodies test is $50. And so how are we going to financially support that for students? We would have to make a free campaign for antibodies test as well before the vaccine. So I was just wondering what were your thoughts on that and how we all plan to deal with that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's like we need to be able to, for the safety of all of our constituents who be potentially getting the vaccine, the university needs to be able to provide free coronavirus antibodies testing. I know if ever anybody else last year, I got like 8. I was mandated by the university to but we have the capabilities to, and that's something that's gonna be the nitty-gritty policy implementation part.
Yeah, no, so I think that, you bring up some really good points, and I think that it also sort of ties in, correct me if I'm wrong, like, because you're asking, like, we're suggesting right now about having some sort of COVID-19 vaccine mandate, right? And in response to like everything that's kind of going on, like you said, like the Grief Day stuff and the Grove being open, and that's why we're kind of pursuing this now. But see, we know this process would take a lot of time. I mean, realistically, like I think every university is kind of beginning this process right now because it's looking towards, I mean, LSU just recently put it in place, but it's looking that more and more universities either by this spring or even maybe, fall 2022, will have some sort of vaccine mandate in place. So really right now, when we're, talking about like presenting this tonight kind of at an expedited pace, we're at committee of the whole, it's really trying to open up that dialogue for these COVID-19 mandates to start happening, that we as students are, ready to start taking some action on this crisis right now. But that is on the university to take that action. That's not on us. We shouldn't be expected as college students to be, submitting some I don't even know, massive policy proposal. We're just kind of suggesting policy that we see fit, in the most broad sense, that other many universities have kind of already backed up on. So that sort of support is not just us standing alone. And yeah, we're just trying to push them to make some public health to action. And I think Bennett mentioned the antibodies testing. Again, that would be up to the university to kind of figure out those details. While they're great concerns, I don't know if that's something that we should necessarily be worried about at this moment when we're thinking about this long-term process that this would take, because it would be taking a long time.
Senator shall suspend. Please remember to adhere to the indirect questioning rules. In addition, there are 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in questioning. That is all. The senator may continue.
So I guess my question would be would you amend the resolution to add that a mandate for an antibodies test as well for the health of the students and getting the vaccine before the conference?
No, because I think that that's something that if that would be imperative, that they would already, the university would take that action. I think if the university decides, okay, we're here for this idea, we're here, to start working on this process, that they would consult, putting my trust in the university here, but consult public health experts. And if that was their recommendation, then they would follow that. So I don't really think that being super specific with this resolution in that way would be really beneficial. Again, because also when I said, how we word it with the exemption in law, but allowed by law and policy, if we are too specific about what this looks like, that, we lose some options there. And so I don't know, what, you have anything else to say, Bennett?
Yeah, it's like what I kind of said earlier. It's a policy issue. So this is pretty much us lighting a fire a little bit of under the administration to see if we can get something going. Because at the rate that I see right now, with the cases that we have right now and the ICU beds that we see right now, we're not going to be having the university that I see right now with open groves, in-person classrooms. This is just kind of being able to tell the university this is something that the associated student body and every single member of the student body is concerned about. And it's something that there needs to be action about. So we can get stuck in the nitty gritty, toes to the grindstone type of deal all night. But that isn't what this resolution's about. If that answers anything.
Senator Williams.
Does the Arthur here to a possible series of questions?
We do so yield.
You mentioned that this was in your bill, I believe, that this was a public health problem. When writing this bill, did you consider any other methods?
Senator may pause. Please remember to adhere to the indirect questioning rules. That is all.
Did you all consider looking at different methods to help prevent the spread of COVID, such as pushing for a mask in the grove or doing more, Zoom classes or other different options that would have a better result in preventing the spread of COVID, or even, considering talking to the FSL office, to start requiring these to go back to selective testing, since this is such a pressing issue.
No, I can take this. Absolutely, we thought about all that stuff. But when we kind of mentioned before, what would be the most equitable, the way that we could do this? Well, we were waiting on all of last year. We're going through that horrible online classes, hybrid classes type of deal, is we were waiting for the vaccine. But we finally have it. I mean, it's been so long since we saw it way off in the distance. It's finally here. And we thought the best option, the cheapest option, and honestly the most necessary option was to be able to focus more on the vaccine rather than a
Senator
vaccine.
Johnson. Sorry. If there are no objections, we will be extending questioning for 5 more minutes. Senator, you may continue.
Yes, I feel like I answered your question.
Well, and I just want to just to emphasize that those conversations that you mentioned have been going on for some time now, and that those have all been under consideration. But like we said, and what many other schools have also agreed is that most COVID-19 protocols have adversely affected marginalized groups. And we think that the vaccine and most public health professionals and other administrations across the country agree with that as well, and students on this campus as we've been talking to them as well.
Do you also believe?
Senator may pause. I know it just seems hard, but we're trying to enforce those rules to prevent charged debate, especially as things go forward. I would really appreciate.
Point of parliamentary procedure.
Point.
Can you?
On your points, Senator.
Could you please please state which, or read off which line you're just mentioning when you said.
About the indirect debate.
Indirect debate. Senators are not supposed to, that is in the Senate rules, senators are not supposed to refer to other senators by name. I may be wrong. At ease for a second. You can talk amongst yourselves. Let me figure this out. I apologize to everyone if I am wrong, but let me figure it out.
You're not wrong.
Hey, y'all, please keep your mask on and over your nose. Thank you.
Wink. And the authors, you are allowed to say you and refer to direct questioning. However, it is important to clarify that questioning is not debate, so be sure to monitor that. Again, an apology to Senators Williams and Wink and the authors. That is all. I have paused debate or paused questioning shall continue.
I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Williams. Senator Harris.
Yield to a possible series of questions.
We do so yield.
Can a student convert back to online fully to be opted out of the vaccine mandate?
That is something that the university would decide. However, based on what the university's decisions have been when it's been in regards to faculty and faculty's request to be online, even with the entire class in person, they have seemed to be very staunchly against that. It seems that the university is really trying to focus on just having in-person classes. However, that could be something that the university could be pursuing, and I don't even know. So especially that could be something that they could pursue after this resolution is possibly passed. So yeah, that's not, I don't know, you know, I mean,
Yeah, it's mainly a policy thing again. Like we can talk the nitty gritty of how this would work all night without it going anywhere because we don't have the power to do anything. This is all about lighting a fire somewhere so we can see if we can try to get the administration and to actually get some progress on this.
again, we like, at the most basic level, we don't even know how many people are vaccinated. So like, that is how little our knowledge of how this would look goes. I know that can be somewhat intimidating. However, I think it would be negligent of us to say that like, that is necessarily a bad thing, because in the past, the way the university has been, they seem to make big decisions with consulting lots and lots of people. So I don't think they would make anything like lightly or on a whim.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Senator Howell?
The authors yield to the possible student questions.
We do so you.
So you all keep mentioning the LSU's policy. It was one of your sources, if I'm not mistaken. Could you all elaborate on LSU's policy that's currently enacted for the vaccine mandate?
Yeah, most definitely. So basically what they have going on down in Baton Rouge is that they released originally on August 24th, updated it September 3rd. And they said that although now it's going to be a little bit different because Louisiana law, mandate, like the law says that students can't opt out of any vaccine mandates. But at LSU, they have made it so that everyone has to be vaccinated. You have until, and unless you submit medical exemption, proof of your first vaccination, or like proof that you've been vaccinated, or formally opt out via exemption / waiver form that they have offered, that you were, unless you were going to get your first shot, you had until September 10th, and then you would be unenrolled from university. And then they now have, since that date's passed, students now have until October 15th to submit proof of full vaccination. Again, they already had to send in that exemption form. But that is an example of a vaccine mandate where there was an option to sign off and opt out with. Now, the catch is with the opting out is that they will be routinely tested for COVID on a regular basis. I think it is every 2 weeks. And from communication with student government at LSU, this has gone pretty smoothly. Of course, there were some outlier students that, seemed pretty angry and were discussing unenrolling, but for the most part, either students got vaccinated and a minority of students held out and decided to formally opt out via the waiver. But because there were some options you had going on there, it was pretty much, it wasn't really contentious. And even if you look online, I scanned, this was also Sunday, but I was kind of looking to see if they had any DM counterpart opinion stuff. And it didn't really seem like there was anything outside of the student governments and the students that I talked to at LSU that said that it seems to be, most people are complying and it's gone pretty smoothly.
Thank you, Senator Howell. Time for questioning has elapsed, but if there is no objections, we will be extending questioning by 5 more minutes. Senator Ladner.
As of today, only 29% of Mississippians in the 18 to 24 age range are vaccinated. How would a possible percentage threshold mandate progress if there are not enough students willing to be vaccinated voluntarily?
So, like I said, for starters, a few things that I mentioned before I might let Bennett kind of charge through with that, is that, that would be something that the university would need to consider more, maybe with some sort of publication incentives kind of stuff. Also, when we look at with LSU, it didn't seem like they really had that many students that were opting out anyways. Most of them just decided to, go ahead and get the vaccine. Do you have anything you would like to add?
I couldn't really hear your question. I'm pretty much deaf. Could you mind saying it one more time?
Yeah, so only 29% of Mississippians or Mississippi residents in 18 to 24 age range are vaccinated. So how would this percentage threshold mandate progress or get harsher if there are not enough students willing to be vaccinated?
Okay.
You're asking about the threshold thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so actually, no. So that's different. That was just an example of something they could do. That is totally a policy question that the university would have to talk about if that was a route that they wanted to take. However, that was just an example I used in my introduction saying like, oh, maybe they could just raise it up to 70%. But also, a statistic you're mentioning is Mississippi residents, and we have a very large out-of-state population. I think it's about 50, maybe 40% of students are around there. So are out of state. So that doesn't even include those that are state that are vaccinated. Again, we don't have those numbers though. So like talking about the threshold kind of thing, with those few reasons I just gave there, just doesn't really seem productive.
And also kind of talking on like Mississippi is a little bit different from Lafayette County, but I checked, I'm pretty sure it was yesterday, September 13th. We were hovering around in Lafayette County, 48% of people ended up having at least one dose of the vaccine, and 52% had around two. And of course, those numbers overlap a little bit. But yeah, if again, a policy thing, but I feel like the threshold would be a little bit different here rather than just out in the Delta, Mississippi, people included as well, if that helps.
I yield my time.
Thank you, Senator Ladner. Senator Beard.
Do the authors yield to the possible series of questions?
We do so yield.
Okay. I was just wondering, since y'all were saying earlier how we don't know how many people at the university are vaccinated or unvaccinated, then, and y'all might have stated this in the resolution, but I'm just asking, then how do we know that we're super unvaccinated? Or like that, when there's like a need that we need to like push it more and that we have so many students that aren't unvaccinated?
Yes, it does make sense. I'm gonna let the numbers guy take this because I will say the numbers do not lie.
Okay, so oh, that's so nerdy. I reached out earlier, I guess it was a month ago, with the campus health. And while we don't have numbers over the percentages that we have people vaccinated, I think we're around like 6,000 that we've given out through the university. So that big TADPAD push and everywhere else. And while I completely understand what you're saying, we don't really have the numbers to see if we're a really good school or a really bad school, or just place. The COVID numbers don't really lie. So when we're bouncing around at least 30 to 70 on any weekend every single day, or every week every single day, that needs to kind of change a little bit, because when we're gone, we're at 4 cases. Like all the summer, we're steadily single, like very close 10s or 12s all throughout the summer. There's a very close correlation there, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that was great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
I yield the right of my time.
Thank you, Senator. Any other senators wishing to question the authors? Okay, Senator Amlong.
Yes.
So I know you guys mentioned there's like some puzzling policy that the university had about professors teaching on Zoom if they might have exposed to COVID or something like that. Could you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, so yes, we can firmly. Basically, if y'all didn't know that this summer, some of the professors were like wanting to go online when cases kind of started spiking with the Delta variant. Or not just spiking, that when the Delta variant was kind of being more introduced and people started seeing the severity of others that were catching the Delta variant, how they were being hospitalized if they were not vaccinated. And so they tried to, a lot of them have kids. Some of them tried to like go online and change their course formatting to be online or remote. University was like, no to this. And they said that you were not allowed to change your course formatting. And so I don't know how many of y'all have had like professors come in with like gloves, 2 masks on. I have one professor, anytime someone coughs, stops the class and asks if they're okay. Like, so they're very cautious right now, because a lot of them don't really want to be in this condition. However, like I said, they've been very strict about, we're not going to go back to that online kind of stuff. And so, the university won't take action in the other direction. Does that kind of answer your question? Okay.
Thank you, Senator Amwalk. Senator Wilson.
We do so yield.
Okay, well, I'll mention how it's gonna take like hypothetically like a really long time for things to actually happen. So do you think that this resolution is really gonna be effective at actually like helping us stay in in-person classes? And like, then I see you guys keep mentioning like if this isn't really gonna have an effect right now. Obviously, I think a lot of us are concerned about keeping the growth, keeping the in-person classes, but like if this takes a really long time. Not really going to be much, then like, are you gonna be able to still have those things?
Yeah, so I think that we will still have those things, but I think we're gonna have them in accordance with like the situation we have going on right now with COVID becoming more and more severe. Like I said, with the professors and how the university has responded to that, and how we've gone a month with cases climbing, reaching, numbers mirroring peaks that we had, literally all-time peaks that we had that were going on without vaccinations, January and November. So I think that the university is pretty firm in their stance there. That, I think that what Bennett was saying when he was talking about losing the growth would be like because of like external jurisdiction saying like, yo, like y'all are going too far, like this is not okay. We're talking about especially the impact that it has on the community, like that's when I feel like it would come crashing down on us. Right now we're in a situation where we're opening lots of things up. We're playing, having fun, but we're not being socially responsible. But, you mentioned like a good point, we did indeed mention saying that like this would be somewhat of a long process, but that's, again, I should have said that with the warning that that's speculation, because LSU, they consulted health professionals and they whipped it out. And that's because they decided that for their university, they kind of just took what was, already working for a lot of other universities and made it fit and made it work for them. Do I know if the university will do that? I don't know. Ole Miss tends to be a little bit more unconventional, and it might be in their best interest to, try to like experiment a little bit more and maybe, try to do something that kind of fits us, because I wouldn't say we're a one size fits all university. But, I think that, again, if we look at it from some sort of stance of like, why do anything if it's going to take a long time, or like if this is a serious situation now, it's like, I personally, and I think that the authors of this resolution, not just me and Bennett, agree that bottom line, we don't want to look back at this and say, why didn't we do something sooner, or why didn't we do anything at all? I do not want to live with that regret, especially if it gets to some like really, really scary point. I don't know. I mean, it's already at a really, really scary point, but like, I mean, you can imagine like your professor coming in saying your kid died. Like, do you know what I mean? Like something absolutely horrific. I don't want to like live with that, I don't know, guilt in the future. So
Yeah, it's like, we honestly don't know. Like we could say, or the university could come out and say like next week that after 2 lanes, like no more growth. This is all speculation, but I would rather everybody in this room do something about it, like in any type of way, shape, or form, than live wondering what happened to my senior year. It's like, I would much rather we do something rather than do nothing, just kind of sit there waiting for whatever end to come. It's like the idea of being proactive or reactive. I refuse to be reactive when it comes to something I care about.
And we're not, and we want to do something, but we also like took some thought to it. So we didn't just like slap something on here. Like, you know what I mean? Like we took some thought. I know this was rushed process, but like that doesn't mean that we cut corners or we didn't do it fully. Like I'm telling you, the amount of time and energy that we put into this and making the right decision was not something rushed. Yes, the routing process and the legislative process was rushed, but not the thought process, not consulting people, not, like really trying to think this through, looking at, other universities. So yeah, the decisions that we made and the stance that we're taking in this resolution, we're not hurried and, but like, we do think that we need to be doing something today.
Do you feel like it should be like sped up? Because I'm kind of talking about like with ICU guys and all this, like, this isn't gonna happen quickly. And you were just mentioning about how LSU like reached out to help people.
Yeah, they did it fast.
ASB's best interest to try and like connect like people in healthcare and stuff to the university, like to help expedite that process and hopefully they're gonna listen to like professionals or is it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so if this is passed and this is going to Glenn Boyce's desk, you must like best believe that like every sort of, like assistance and aid and like any way that we can convince them that like we can do this and we can do it now and it can be good and like quick and efficient and like solve this crisis will be presented with it. And also like, yeah, so I don't see why not,
And talking about the ICU beds, it's much better that we do something than nothing again. Like those people are already in the hospital, but by cutting down the number of cases that we have every single day, the amount of people that are potentially getting infected that aren't just students, but they're actual like vulnerable populations, like 65 or older. Now we're getting to like the 40-year-olds. It's like, that's really what matters because we can't change the past, but we can kind of take a firm hold of the future.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator Wilson. Senator Beard.
So when you say that,
Oh, wait.
like, sorry. Would the authors yield to a point of, two possible questions?
Yes.
We just-
Still gonna use this whole thing. Whenever you say that, like, whenever this resolution is gonna be presented and put on his desk, that, like, will present other things, like, if this is passed and this is put on his desk, like, what do you see happening as a result of this? What is this actually gonna result in?
So what I meant by that, great question. What I meant by that was like, if what he sees is resolution and he has any questions to us, or he has any like sort of speculation or like, oh, well, this is an immediate no, maybe. That's when I'm saying I know that we would do anything to like, get some sort of action. This is, the action that we are as most desirable is something kind of going on with the vaccine, but as in accordance with the faculty senate. Like when we're talking about like, I don't know, it's so easy to speculate and think like, oh man, I can put myself in Glenn Boyce's shoes and I know that he's going to look at this and, immediately shove it on his desk. Like, I don't know what he's going to do. So, if he starts to speculate, I think that's what I mean. Like we will, I think everyone in the university or anyone that supports this will, try to do their best to assist him in that decision making and whether or not to sign this. And in assistance in pro, you would obviously want to speak positively and say, we can do this quickly, we can get it done, we can make a difference now. We can follow what LSU's done and gone and expedite this process. Another SEC school has done this, like I said, and also
Students that are not students, more than it being heavily like blamed on the students or things of that nature?
Well, it kind of depends where you get tested at. So I completely see your line of argument. If someone comes for the Tulane game from New Orleans or from wherever else, they might be bringing the pandemic down here. But our numbers come from the testing sites that we have, or like the numbers that we have. So I completely hear what you're saying, but that wouldn't really, they might bring down COVID, but the people who are getting infected are people that are here. Did that kind of help out?
Also, I was trying to see if we don't really know the number of students that's vaccinated, because I know you mentioned that a certain amount of students were vaccinated on campus. However, I got vaccinated off campus, so I wouldn't even be in that database.
Mhm.
How can we really move forward not knowing if 80% of our students could have been vaccinated or not?
Well, that, again, I kind of tie into it. So we have 6,000 that we know that have gotten vaccinated on campus. We have the rates when pretty much no students were here at all. If they were here, they were probably working on an internship this summer. Usually around the single digits in the 10s, 11s, 12s. Then it pretty much marked when sorority rush started all the way to now. It's just much higher cases. So because we have no vaccination numbers, we can't really say, but using just the correlation between when do students arrive on campus and what are the cases looking like, that's where we kind of draw the conclusions from.
And so so this resolution is since it's a resolution, it's a suggestion, right? For this COVID-19 vaccine mandate. So if we're suggesting it, and hypothetically, the university could start with, okay, let's start with getting everyone who has been vaccinated to submit proof of those vaccinations. And they see, oh my gosh, wow, we literally have 96% of students vaccinated. What the heck? We didn't even know. And sorry, my voice is going out. We didn't even know. Then, I mean, that would be up to them to act on that. But like, at least that, us suggesting a vaccine mandate, that could lead them, and very well, if they sign this, quite possible. I mean, most definitely. That's at least what someone of Faculty Senate has informed me of, that like it would probably lead to some sort of database happening, because people would submit it as like attack on immunization records.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, like we are just suggesting here. So like if they sign this and then they see like that beautiful magic number, who knows what they'll act after that. They're not bound by anything in our resolution.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Senator Roby?
Do the authors yield to a possible series of questions?
Yeah, we do so yield.
When you say our like COVID testing centers, are you referring to like the university testing centers or Oxford testing centers, which would mean like the university would be only students and Oxford testing, COVID testing center would be students, other Oxford residents, and possibly neighboring cities?
Well, at this point, they're pretty much just one and the same. Ever since the university stopped doing like voluntary free testing, it's pretty much students have kind of mostly phased out of using that. So I know most people end up going somewhere else into Lafayette County or Oxford to go get their testing. So they're pretty much just one and the same. When it was in like the height of the voluntary like free COVID testing, I would say there could be a disparity between those two, but at this point they're just one and the same.
Thank you, Senator Roby. If there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and begin debate. As a point, I would like to state that Article 8, Section 8 of the Senate Rules states senators may refer to previous comments made by another senator to accuse, disagree, agree, praise, or any such action during debate, but shall not refer to the previous speaker by name. Authors, you may take your seat. Are there any senators wishing to debate the legislation? Okay. Senator Jones-Verdict.
Hi, you all. Really great questions. I'm first going to apologize about my voice. As you know, this is how I sound now. But I think it's so important to understand the intention of the resolution as the authors, which are all the committee chairs, want you to. We are definitely not asking for you to vote on a vaccine mandate. Let me just make that so abundantly clear. We are children and we are not the authority on what is right for public health. And also, we would not ask you to represent your constituents on that kind of matter. That is, again, as was stated multiple times by some of our authors tonight, that is so out of our hands. That is in the hands of public health professionals, physicians, other healthcare workers, and our essential workers. So that is really important for me to clarify here. Also, the policy details about who offset the percentages, or whatever, again, like I said, we're not pressed to decide tonight. Here we're going to decide, here is what we would decide by voting yes on this resolution, that we inspire our university to take action, and then that we have a seat at the table when that action is presented. So what I mean by inspire action, for example, if there is a federal or local or state call to shut down as a university, we can say we have XYZ policies in place and here's how we're doing it safely. That's why we want to act now, so we can be proactive about that. For instance, it's like when you used to ask your mom, hey, can I go out on a school night? You can say, oh, I finished my homework and I'll be back before curfew. That's literally what we're trying to do.
also that we have a seat at the table. We want them to know that we want our freedoms, we don't want to be burdened anymore. And also, a final point before I close off is that all federal mandates have medical and legal exemptions. We are not asking anyone to do anything that is against their right to bodily autonomy, and all these medical procedures will be handled appropriately under laws. Thank you, and I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Jones Burdick. Senator Hollowell.
I just want to say, echo what what's been said before. This is a statement to the university that we mean business, that we, are going to, want the university to take steps to ensure that we can come to class safely, that we can do these activities, like attending football games safely. We're asking them to explore this possibility. We're not saying that, as the previous senators mentioned, we're not saying, we're voting on a vaccine mandate. We're asking the university to look into this. Vaccines are highly effective at preventing hospitalizations. If some people are concerned, about, you can still catch it. I don't know any of the science of it, but, highly effective to keep people out of the hospital, which is our primary concern right now on the ICU beds. I just wanted to say that I hope that you will support this resolution. Because I think it's really important that we, stand with the faculty who have asked us to, support a resolution like this. And that we, thank you.
Senator D. Okay. Thank you, Senator Hollowell. Senator Wink.
So I just want to say that thank you so much for putting this resolution together. I think it'll be so good. I think you'll find out really thoroughly, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure the university is too. But I just want to say that mandating the vaccine goes against a lot of the idea of the University of Mississippi stands for. And on this creed, actually, it says that it's an open environment that believes in personal and professional integrity and freedom. As the state of Mississippi's first public university, it seems as if that we're going against some of the values that the school started with. Being a public university, that is, students should have the freedom and the choice of getting the vaccine or not. I think the biggest things that are basic, it's a basic right. We are a public, not private institution, and by allowing a public institution to mandate a vaccine, you're prohibiting their personal beliefs. This vaccine has medical ramifications that have yet to be explored. It is very new. A lot of students probably just got the virus, as I said earlier, and I know there's like not a lot of talk about the antibodies thing. There's a lot of anxiety from students already being back in person and stuff, and I think making them feel forced to make a decision that they're not very comfortable with, and we do live in a city and our parents clearly aren't comfortable with if they don't have it. I feel like that's a lot of pressure on students who are on like 19, some of them, and I think it's just a lot. I think the last thing we want to do is make them feel like they're supposed to do something. And the last thing is, I think that instead of promoting something like a mandate, we should be promoting things like, have we started paying more for like free vaccines, maybe make a place in the grove that's a vaccination area and stuff like that. I think there's definitely.
Thank you, Senator Wink. Senator Wool.
The terminology of resolution specifically calls for a vaccine mandate. Anyone outside of this country widely confused by the wording of this bill. And a lot of us are weary of having our names associated with the words vaccine mandate. Now, we're so fortunate to be written in a time where the medical community and the science community are working diligently to address the concerns of the COVID pandemic. Vaccines are readily available, and everyone is free at pretty much any time to obtain them. But I wholeheartedly believe that those decisions are for the individual to make, not to be mandated by a group of their peers who are not by any stretch of imagination experts in the field. Even the COVID pandemic is relatively new to our understanding. Only a year ago, a vaccine was not even available. No long-term studies about the vaccines themselves or their long-term safety and viability. So while I encourage those persons interested in vaccinating to do so, those are decisions for those individuals to make for themselves. Now, many people are hesitant to get the vaccine. That's okay. It's okay to question something so new. And that's why I feel very uncomfortable mandating anything that is so new to all of us. He must first represent the students of the University of Mississippi, and we are being perpetually up on a bandwagon that is at this time remains untested. Ole Miss's enrollment rate has been dropping over some time. Given that, it would not be the best interest to pass a resolution that we taken seriously would lead to a vaccine mandate. I've talked to family and friends back home who have made it clear that their child will not the COVID vaccine mandate because their fears over the vaccine being rushed and the potential for undesirable long-term consequences. I believe it is imperative to give this concept some time and to really talk to our constituents about how they feel about us preparing for medical choices. It is not appropriate for us to force our personal beliefs on our peers. Once we go down this road, there's no turning back, and I cannot at this time support this resolution. I will always fight for medical freedom in my personal life.
Thank you, Senator Wall. We will now be going to Leg Monitor Rhodes, who is on Zoom.
Can y'all hear me okay? Lila, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Perfect. Thank you so much. So I would love to engage in like a lively debate with y'all, but as a leg monitor, it's not really my position to debate. It's not really my role. But during the period of questioning, there was some questions about timeline, and that I can provide you some information on. So I can confirm that for Senate Bill 21-15, it was officially sent out as a virtual signature on September the 9th. And as of this moment, it is currently in the hands of the Chancellor, which means that in the period of only 5 days, it is already in his hands for him to review and to look at and to consider. I also personally email his personal secretary, his personal assistant, in advance of any time he has to sign so that it is aware that it's ready for him and that he has ample time to review. So in terms of timeline, Senate Bill 21-15 took 5 days. I'm not going to say that that's always going to be the case, but that has been the standard so far this term, and something that I think you all should keep in mind in terms of timeline. So thank you. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Leg Monitor Rhodes. Senator Soto Lopez.
No. So my opinion on this, I feel like it's very clear that the measures that we've taken so far are even that are not that hard. I mean, we've all seen around us, there are people that, cannot even put on a simple mask on. Like, they're not that hard. And even those are not even being executed properly. We need something else. Like, again, to reiterate, the purpose of this resolution is not to force people to get the vaccine. It's to open a pathway so that we can do things that will actually be looking at the well-being of our constituents and ourselves. But yeah, I yield the remainder of my time. That's all I have.
Thank you, Senator Soto Lopez. Senator Hertz.
So to go to this university, we have already been required to get vaccines. Just like normal. So while this, like we talked about numerous times, this isn't like if you don't get the vaccine by tomorrow, you're going. This is just to get the university administration paying more attention. And I think that it is a good thing, even if you don't want the vaccine or you don't feel like your constituents want it either, to have these conversations in the works is vital to actually getting anything done. Because if you don't talk about it, then nothing's gonna happen. Because we've noticed that if we just let the administration do what they want without us telling them, nothing gets done. I give them a minute.
Thank you, Senator Hertz. Senator Day.
So I wanted to express the fact that when I first heard about this legislation, like many other senators in the room, I felt a little bit wary of imposing a vaccine mandate on the student body. But I think something that's really eased my nerves on this subject is realizing the intent of this legislation, as previous senators have noted, is not to automatically put into place a vaccine mandate. I don't think that that's the imperative of the Senate here tonight. Because, I mean, as it's been stated, we're just students here. We're hardly even adults at this point, but what we do need to do is have unity as students
to come and give the message to the chancellor that we want action to be taken on behalf of the pandemic, because something needs to be done in order to preserve our access to the Grove, to football games, to in-person classes. And even if it's not a vaccine mandate, by passing this legislation, we will definitely be able to get our foot in the door and show the university that we're serious about having something be done. And at the end of the day, it's a win-win. Because either the chancellor is going to see this and say, no, I don't want to do a vaccine mandate, but the effect of that is that we've already shown that we want to be involved in the process, or it's a win in the sense that the chancellor will see this and say, that's a great idea, and he'll carry out this legislation by implementing a mandate that's backed by research on behalf of the university and its staff, and also by consulting with the constituents that we haven't personally had time to consult with. But trust me, the chancellor is going to, before he implements anything as broad as a vaccine mandate, he's going to do everything he can to make sure he's not going to drop enrollment. He's not going to upset all of the people that attend the university and to send their children here. I think we should leave this process to the chancellor by allowing ourselves to implement ourselves in that process and show that it's something that he needs to get on as soon as possible. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Day. Senator Monroe.
So I just wanted to clear some past senators brought up. As a previous senator said, we have mandated vaccines in the past. I understand that those vaccines that we have previously mandated were older and had more research behind them, or at least that is the common belief. For the COVID-19 vaccine, specifically the Pfizer vaccine that is FDA approved as of August 23rd, it is an mRNA vaccine. That vaccine is based off of old technology that we have had around for over a decade, and it is not a brand new, fresh out of the oven vaccine. So it is proven safe technology. This is not an unsafe, unexperienced, unused vaccine. Over 375 million people have gotten it so far with very minimal adverse reactions. Furthermore, you can get the vaccine once the acute virus is over, once you stop showing symptoms. There is no evidence that you cannot do so. It is recommended by the CDC themselves that once the acute virus is over and quarantine has been ceased, you should get the vaccine. There's not a 30-day waiting period. Furthermore, if you have antibodies, you can also get the vaccine. That has also been proven and shown by the the CDC. In response to a previous senator, we are not saying we have to mandate this vaccine. We are simply asking the university to take the proper steps to respond to this health crisis. We have to take into consideration that if we do nothing and the ICU beds completely fill up as they are now, there are absolutely none left, preventable deaths will be caused. I'm talking about somebody gets alcohol poisoning, goes to the ER, they can't be seen, and then a preventable death occurs. This will begin to increase, and this directly affects our constituents and their actual health. It's not just old people anymore. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Monroe. Senator Jones-Burdick.
Hi, just a couple more points before we move forward in our period of debate. Again, I'm so appreciative of everyone bringing so many wonderful options forward. However, there are some clarifications I feel like I should make. There has been so much conversation about how we feel as senators that this has been a rushed process. Let me assure you that all authors and even more of us that have signed on with this resolution have taken so much time to do adequate and appropriate research. Another really important factor for me to mention is that now after this time, as I said, this resolution is meant to inspire action and give us a seat at the table. Should this resolution pass tonight, then that is the time for us to reach out to constituents saying, we have called on Chancellor Boyce, and here is what we will tell him when he asks for our voice. Does that make sense? Yes. Then the next thing to say is that, again, we fully support everyone's legal and medical freedom in regard to getting a vaccine. And again, if you have previously gotten COVID and it is not appropriate for you to get a vaccine at that time, then hopefully we will be able to be in those conversations to ensure that that voice is heard and that everyone, again, is taking care of their health. And there are multiple ways that we do that. And we can only do that if we are in the conversation to have those accommodating, inclusive options available to him when we go there. The final thing is that this is for everyone's health. Health extends to mental well-being as well. I know about you all, but I've never been happier than when I was in the Grove this weekend. And like I said, this is the preventative measure so that we can keep those things if something does go wrong. Thank you, I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you.
Just a minute. There are 14 minutes remaining in debate currently. That is all.
Senator Ashmore.
So as previous senators have stated, we're not the science experts here. Like, it's not our job to debate the science of the vaccine and how it works. I mean, there's plenty of resources for us to go in and do our own research into the science of it if we want to. And it's also not even our job to try to figure out the policy and the implementation for how this would work. That would be up to the university should this resolution pass. But it is our job as elected senators for our student body and our constituency to do the best that we can to protect our students' rights and our students' safety, health, and enjoyment at this university. And by passing this resolution, again, we're not the science experts behind it, but what we are doing is we're making a statement to the university, we're making a statement to our administration that we want to have our freedom. We want to have the ability to go to in-person classes and to do the things that we come to college to do. Nobody wants to be at home. Nobody wants to be online. Like, we can all agree that we want to be here. And we need to make a statement being elected by our constituency. And being that we're in the middle of a health crisis right now, I would not want to look back personally 5 years from now and see being in the middle of a pandemic that we did nothing or that we didn't even try. And so as senators and elected officials, I urge you all to consider passing this resolution to do the best that we possibly can for our students in this university. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Ashmore. Senators, I'd like to know, we have a running list of who has raised their placard, so if I haven't called on you yet, that's why I'm going through the list. Senator Williams.
When it comes to this resolution, and my overall thoughts on it, I do not think it will become the most effective. As previous senators have stated, this is to light a fire under university officials. I think literally we have seen countless efforts to try to prevent the spread of COVID, from mass mandates to selective testing, and we've seen that the student population, I would say majority of the student population have not been in favor of that. So overall, I cannot say my constituents would be in favor of making the COVID-19 vaccination mandatory. And I want everyone, I would like every senator to think about this and think about all the different things and preventative measures that have been in place and how successful they have been. And think about why haven't they been successful. And also, I want you to think about, a lot of people say, okay, we're in a medical emergency, but again, even on many of our parts that we, like, such as the growth, we talk about the growth, we talk about all of these fun activities, when these are the main causes for the spread of COVID. And we talk about the vaccine, but no one has talked about how the Delta variant is so we can spread around. No one is mentioning how the grove is still fully open, no masks are in the grove. So I want you all, well, I would like everyone to fully think about before we have this mask mandate. Not mask mandate, COVID-19 mandate, or before voting on it, that you think of other preventative measures and try to make sure that is successful before we push something as drastic as this. For the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Williams. Senator Neighbors.
Just a couple notes, both in an academic regard and then my personal opinion. First and foremost, academically, we really are looking at a situation where we will go back online. If the COVID cases rise, if professors get sick, it's interrupting the classroom of both individuals getting sick and not getting class and not having a Zoom option, because the university is extremely against having that hybrid type format. And then secondly, if we go back to in-person classes, it's going to negatively impact our university enrollment wise far more than any potential like non-vaccine, anti-vax people not enrolling in this university. Having online classes is imperative as the #1 function of the university. Like I think we like talk about the growth, we talk about we talk about events, but we're students first and foremost. Like we're here to go to school. I don't
know about you, but I did not learn a lot of accounting last year online. And this year, going to my finance classes, like that's really hard. Like I did not get what I needed to get out of my classes last year online, regardless of how hard my teachers tried to make, all of that knowledge accessible and do their best. It's not the same, and we're going to be entering a world where we're not prepared. We don't have educational foundation for our career paths, and that's going to be very damaging to all of us in the future. So I think before you think about the growth, think about class, think about going to school, think about how lucky we are to be in person these last 2 weeks. These are a lot of people's very first times in classes, and so I think we really need to think about that as a number one thing, like in class, thinking about continuing that and how we can stay in class, and that's why people leave backstage. That's why not continuing the spread. Secondly, on my opinion of this whole, my time's almost up, so I'll just end it there and come back around.
Do you yield?
I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Neighbors. Senator Hollowell.
Yes, I would like to, I know previous senator mentioned something. One of the first things I wanted to talk about was when the senator mentioned that, doing this now wouldn't be able to prevent the growth from shutting down and prevent things like that. But I do think if the chancellor is talking about this and they know vaccine mandate is coming, I think people will start getting vaccinated that haven't. If they know they're going to have to eventually, it's going to start. So the deadline isn't necessarily when people are going to be vaccinated. They're going to be getting vaccinated before that. So I think as long as we're starting the conversation, we're starting a solution right now, I think we're addressing it. When it gets so bad, it's not already that. When it gets worse, and we're having to, throw something out there that may not work at that time. Another thing about, whether or not masking has been effective, I think the vaccine mandate is a little different. It's way simpler for you to, verify that people are following through with it. A mask mandate, people have their noses exposed, they did not wear them, having them in the grove, it's just not I think people are not going to be receptive to that. People don't want to wear masks in the grove. You're not going to be able to enforce it as well. People are going to be drinking. It's not a thing that's, that's possible. Food, drink, ball, masks aren't, going to be required for that. So I think a vaccine mandate they can be verified, possibly if they, go down that route. As far as people saying, maybe their medical freedoms are violated, I think the school doesn't have to necessarily go with the strict, everybody can get vaccinated by this day, or there's just multitude of possibilities that could happen. I think we're just making clear that we mean business. We are taking this seriously. That we are the voice of the students, and we need to let them know the students are hurting. The students are having a problem with this, and the students care, and the faculty has asked us to do that. So, right.
Yield there. Thank you, Senator Hollowell. Senator Amlong.
Yeah, I just really want to offer kind of a different take on this. The story with ASB, and particularly ASB Senate, and I know we all hear it from other people, is that we sit here, we debate a lot, we don't really do any actionable change, right? And I think definitely, especially as a first-year senator last year, I think it's hard to hear that. And, that sometimes gets in your head. You think that. Well, I think this resolution is an excellent point to kind of prove that wrong. So obviously, ASB, this resolution wouldn't cause any action or change overnight. It's a call upon the university. But the greatest power that ASB and the ASB Senate has is sending a resolution to the chancellor's desk. So no one, the university, the administrators, they haven't made any public stance on a vaccine mandate or not. By sending this resolution to their desk, it literally, we literally force the chancellor to take a position on this one way or another. I think that is what our greatest power is truly in ASB. And I think that by doing that, we would be remiss if we didn't utilize that power, especially now, especially with such a big deal that vaccines and COVID is, as big of a deal as that is today. So I just urge everyone, I would really urge everyone to utilize this power that we have. Send this resolution to the chancellor's desk, force him to make a determination on it or not, and then we can move from there.
Thank you, Senator Amlong. As we're getting close on time, if there are no objections, we will be extending the period of questioning for 10 more minutes. Senator Burgess.
Okay, Okay, forgive me if I stutter a little new to talking in Senate. But my biggest thing is actually just what the previous senator was talking about. It's incredibly sad that the university as a whole has not been taking a stance on this. It's incredibly sad that we're having to sit here and decide what we think as students when the university should be making bigger things on that. I think that, okay, so a few thoughts. I think it's not accurate to think that we have incredibly high vaccination rates. No matter if everyone submitted their vaccination reports, I think it's kind of crazy to think that we would have 90% vaccination rates because we've seen the cases rise continually as students came back. Also, 59% of the city is vaccinated, and I think a previous senator said 29% of Mississippi residents aged 18 to 24 are vaccinated. Obviously, we're not completely that group of people, but it's crazy to think that we're a unicorn state that has 100% in our community. I think another previous senator mentioned next steps. We've done the next steps, in my opinion. We've done the masks, we've done the online classes, we've done the please get vaccinated, you can have this prize, this prize, this prize. We have 3 vaccines on campus, and it's just not happening, not enough is. Our job is not to sit back and do nothing while people are dying. I don't know about y'all, but I am very proud to have been elected into this position, and I don't want to sit idly by like the university is. While great events are happening in person with no testing, no masks, the growth is happening, football's happening, people are wearing masks in class. I don't know about y'all's classes, but people are not wearing them in my class. I think that we have a duty to stand up as leaders to do the right thing. We were elected to represent our constituents. We were also elected to be bold leaders of the campus, and that's what we should be. So I encourage all to support this resolution.
Do you yield the remainder of your time? Thank you, Senator Burgess. Senator Wink.
So I know some people are saying that we're not calling for a mask mandate, and some people are saying that we are calling for a mask mandate. And I was looking at the piece of legislation, it does say in the last line that we are calling for a COVID vaccination mandate for all students, faculty, and staff with exemptions allowed by law and policy. I am not in support of putting this resolution forward because I feel like we need to amend it and say more steps towards saying let's call for an educational seminar for everyone to be educated on the vaccines that are available to you. And because I feel like there's a lot of reason that kids aren't getting or students aren't getting vaccines because they're scared of it, they don't know it, they're not educated on it. And we have a whole seminar that we mandate for kids to take on alcohol, the EverPod program thing. I think it's really good if we had a program where everyone got educated on different types of vaccines and all that. So I think we should call the resolution to be and draw attention of more awareness and to mandate educational system to learn about the vaccines. But I think that'll make more students more comfortable to educate themselves on a decision that they should make on personal beliefs. I yield there.
Thank you, Senator Wink. Senator Wood.
Yes, I have spoken to my constituents about this issue as much as I can, and every single person I've asked has said no. Adamant. They do not want a vaccine mandate, they don't want any further steps. And so when we talk about law and policy, guys know about that. And it is my understanding, regardless of what we vote on tonight, the chancellor is not in favor of this. Nothing is I believe that the chancellor represents student body better than we can. Based on my sample size, if applied to the student body, they're not in favor of this. So the chancellor, by being able to strike this down, puts the final nail in ASB's relevance and all. More DM articles that come about how we don't represent the student body. With that, I yield the minimum.
Patrons' rights. Is that how it works? Like, can I say something?
No, you are not recognized.
Okay.
They mentioned the legislation.
That's not a thing. I'm sorry, Senator.
Senator Ryan?
No.
Or no? Okay.
There's.
Okay. He yielded. Okay.
Sorry.
Senator Wilson.
So my constituents, so I think college age students are very selfish. I feel like that's the stereotype. And my constituents care about the growth, they care about going out, and they care about going to in-person classes, which are super, super valid. But I think that I think this needs to be passed because I think it's embarrassing if we like faculty on strong position on COVID. Because I think that they won't turn out to be an actual vaccine mandate, but I think that it needs to go to the chancellor's office and he can decide however he wants to interpret that. and when he wants to have educational seminars, I think that sounds like a great idea, like the previous editor said, but I'm just saying that we're gonna be hyping the Grove on ambassadors tours, and that's gonna be the stereotypical wellness thing, that can't really end, and I think that we don't do a statement to the chancellor like this and soon, I think that he's gonna think that we're satisfied with how things are, and I personally am not satisfied, I do not want to learn asking class. And I just, even though we have in-person classes right now, and even though we have to go, like, I'm just nervous about all of this, and I think that there are very crucial parts to this university, and I think that we can make statements to chancellor in this.
Thank you, Senator Wilson. Senator Ladner.
The language of the language of this legislation dictates support for the Faculty Senate resolution to call for COVID vaccination mandate. So therefore, we must assume that COVID vaccination mandate is the next step in the Chancellor's administrative process. If the intent of this legislation is simply to alert the Chancellor that something needs to be done about this public health crisis, then the language of this resolution needs to be abundantly clear that vaccine mandate may not be the answer. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Ladner. Senator Monroe.
So I would like to respond to something previous senators said about their constituents not like being happy with the current state of the campus and how they adamantly opposed masking and social distancing, and that therefore he believes that they'd be adamantly opposed to vaccines as well. I believe that the adamant opposition to social distancing and masking was in response to not being able to have a college experience that we all want and what we're expecting when we were in high school. The vaccine is simply put the best route to regain that experience that we all dreamt of when we were in high school, thinking about going to college and having a good time. Social distancing put a stop to that, and I think that is why those constituents were disagreeing with social distancing. In response to another senator, I am in strong opposition to the belief that the chancellor represents the students more than the elected student body does. We were elected by our peers, the chancellor was not. I think that we represent the student body, not the chancellor, and I'm in strong opposition to that statement. I think it's very inaccurate to say so. Furthermore, if every single person that the previous senator asked said they were against the vaccine mandate, I believe that his sampling grade may possibly have been skewed. I've talked to multiple different stereotypical kind of sampling groups, and I've gotten various different responses, and each one have their outliers. But you know, when you think of a specific group that would say yes or no, it's pretty accurate. But if you spread yourself across a bunch of different subgroups, you will get a consistently different answer. As the authors of this bill said, there are people that are adamantly yes, adamantly against, and there are people that fall in the middle. And I don't think that we need to take into account just one specific subgroup as the whole of this university. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Monroe. Senator Jones Verdict.
I will not be long on this. However, there is something to be said for our duty here that's been brought up many times by the presenting authors and many throughout this debate tonight. Obviously, no one wants things to change. We've been living the high life for the last couple of years, honestly. And I understand that. But as another senator has mentioned, that's selfish. That's not looking toward our future. And again, like I said, the intention of this resolution still stands, that we need to inspire action, whatever that may be. And of course, yes, some parts of this resolution support a vaccine mandate with exemptions, but that's just one other point. Now, again, I must say, I urge you, under those intentions, to vote for this resolution, and definitely not only keep your constituents in mind right now, but as we move forward, because I really so thoroughly enjoyed hearing about such constituent engagement. I hope that continues for the rest of the year, and I thank you all so much for all the time and consideration you've taken in this resolution. Thank you, and I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Jones Verdict. Senator Neighbors.
So throwing back around to my opinion on this resolution, I came into the Senate honestly tonight a little bit on the fence. I personally don't like to be told what to do ever. So that was my first upfront to this piece of resolution. But after sitting here and listening to the authorship and being in many of the meetings that occurred before this, it's very obvious to me that this vaccine mandate, with its exceptions, and you can see that detailed in the resolution, is a viable option. We see it in LSU right now going on, and they've managed to pull it off. And I think that similarly, SEC schools will follow suit. We do not need to wait around to get shut down until we actually implement this sort of thing. Being again, like a previous senator mentioned, proactive versus reactive. And honestly, after hearing the author speak about the different types of policies that can go in place to still follow a mandate, like they mentioned, those are options that will make students not have to get the vaccine if they strongly do not want to. There are waivers, there are health and medical reasons. There are exceptions to every rule on campus forever. And there will be in terms of a vaccine mandate as well. And so I think that when I read this resolution initially, I did not look at the law and policy that is out very, closely, obviously. I saw mandate in big red letters and it was like, oh, scary mandate. But after having it explained to you, you can understand why this is a feasible solution and why it's not such a harsh, I guess, resolution as you may think. So I think what your job is as a representative is to go to your constituents and explain that of the resolution so that they understand what this resolution actually means and how it could play out. So talking to your constituents, talk about the law and policy, talk about those aspects that make this a feasible solution so that we're actually doing something, because not doing anything is embarrassing for us as students, and we need the burden of the COVID pandemic taken off of us as students and to actual goals.
Thank you, Senator Neighbor. Senator Ryan.
Quickly, there are 2 minutes and there are about 3 minutes remaining in the debate. I will let Senator Neighbors play out. That is all.
Senator Ryan.
Hey y'all. The reason I said patience was stating that this resolution is redundant and there has not been any statement made by the university and any other legislation in the ASB Senate about this is misinformative, and I prefer that other language be used. Now, I'm going to restate something that I said in my introduction. I know it was going kind of very fast, but why do we not just write, oh, please, Chancellor, please do something about COVID-19? Well, the way I see it as, we do not come at the circumstance hard. We do not approach it with some sort of general direction or idea, and there's no reason why the university cannot respond by saying that they are already making us wear masks, that they are already doing stuff for COVID-19. So we're trying to pursue things. We need to use the next tool in our box. We need to do the next step because, as Bennett has stated, and he did say up there multiple times, is that action needs to be taken. And the momentum right now that I advise us to ride on is vaccination. I spoke during questioning about how vaccine policy-wise is the best, so that way, that is why we recognize the faculty resolution. If you think that that is not the best policy after everything that has been stated tonight, is within your right. And even so, if this resolution were to be passed, as I mentioned, the resolution does state in it that exemptions are allowed by law and policy. Therefore, if you do not agree, and if the constituents do not agree with getting a shot in their arm that is against COVID-19, that is within their right, they do not have to do so.
Thank you, Senator Ryan. As the time is about to elapse, if there are no objections, we will, If there are no objections, we will extend questioning by 7.5 minutes. Senator.
Okay. On your point, Senator. On your point, Senator. Oh.
Yeah, I just wanted to object to this extending the time.
I object to his objection.
Okay. Let's. We have the right to extend. Please, we have. Y'all have the right to extend the rules as I just stated, but it will take a 2/3 vote to do so. So. Do we go through roll call? Or can we do?
Vote in favor of what?
To extend the period of debate by 7.5 minutes, like I previously stated. Can we do voice acclamation? Okay. If you vote in favor to extend the period of debate by 7.5 minutes, like I previously stated, please say aye.
Aye.
If you are opposed.
Nay.
Okay. So we will have to now go into a roll call vote to do so. Please try not to speak during this time. This only makes the process go longer. I know that this has already lasted a while, but we are doing our job as senators.
Okay, for anyone confused, if you vote yes, this will extend the period for
7.5 minutes.
If you vote no, we will move into author summation, correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. Amwell.
Yay.
Ashmore.
Yay.
Beard. Burgess. Cooper. DeQuilla. DeBelle. Day.
Yay.
Stedman.
Nay.
Dermody.
No.
Drury. Gillen.
Nay.
Gully.
No.
Harris.
No.
Hertz. No. Hollowell.
Nay.
Howell.
No.
Jackson.
Yay.
Johnson. No. Jones Verdict.
No.
Kelly. Tyson King. Jonah King. Ladner.
Yay.
Lampkin. Lopez.
Yay.
Mattson.
Yay.
McClendon.
Yay.
No.
Yay.
Miles.
Yay.
Monroe.
No.
Murphy.
No.
Neighbors. Nelson.
Yay.
Osmond. You get to vote?
In the case of a tie, you can.
Patterson.
No.
But that's not the provision.
Ricketts.
No.
Roby.
No.
Roebuck.
No.
Ross.
No.
Ryan.
No.
Bloom.
No.
Scott.
No.
Stradinger.
No.
Wall. Watts.
No.
Williams.
No.
Wilson.
Yay.
Wink.
Nay.
Wood.
Yes.
The debate of time has elapsed, so we will now move into author summation. Would the author, do the authors wish to make some time? The time will begin when you begin.
As one of the senators tonight has said, we mean business. This resolution calls out inaction during this public health crisis, echoing another senator saying that this resolution is not explicitly saying any sort of policy when it comes to a vaccine mandate. But at the same time, we need unity as students and we want action to be taken on COVID-19. And I want to kind of end my part with restating the chancellor's statement in response to, in preparation for Hurricane Ida on September 1st, 2021, which I believe is emblematic of how the university wants to think of itself. As always, the university stands ready in your time of need. Please do not hesitate to reach out by responding to this email if we can assist you or your family in any way during this time. And it is in our most trying times that our strength lies in our ability to take care of each other. I know Ole Miss Rebels everywhere will display an overwhelming outpouring of love and support because it is a hallmark of the Ole Miss family to rally when people need support the most.
I feel like Zach is the most symptomatic thing of what I believe that ASB should be doing. Like, we have a lot of missions, we have a lot of things that we say ASB holds idyllic. But the thing that I find is most relevant is that ASB is a group of body, the representative council of every student on campus that holds the university to its word. Previous senator said that the chancellor might do a better job than we do about representing our students. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Look at the statute. We say that we're saying that we are a diverse and equitable community looking out for our fellow students, but it was still there. The shadow of a former time, the time that's now gone. We're looking at IDA where we're looking at an outpouring of love and supporting each other. When we have ICU beds packed, 3-hour wait lists all over campus and all over the city for any type of injury. This is a public health crisis, and this is our opportunity to make a difference. Everyone was elected for a reason. You guys decided to run for it. You guys had grand ideals for what you wanted ASB to do and how you wanted to be representing your student body. This is your opportunity. We are in a public health crisis. And I personally think it's time for the university and the administration to stay by its word. Instead of waiting around for the end to come with the growth and the climbing COVID cases and the ICU beds getting packeder and packeder, we become proactive instead of reactive. By standing with the faculty senate, we'll be able to send a piece of legislation, a resolution, straight to his desk, making him have to make a decision. Do I stand with the students, or will my action will be my inability to act? Because that is the best power that ASB has. I just want to hold everybody to that. I know everybody has different opinions, and I respect that because, I mean, you guys were all elected. I respect all of y'all. But I feel like we have shown properly why this is a public health crisis. We have a problem on campus. It's our job as the problem solvers to make a difference. This isn't a vaccine mandate. It is, it talks about that, but this is within the law and the policy of the university and of the administration to do that. We are not healthcare providers or frontline workers. We are students, and most time I feel like I'm not learning anything. But the most important thing that we do is that we just do something. I'm selfish. The entire senior class is selfish. My constituency is selfish. We all want the college experience that we're given a taste in when we want our first sports team ambassadors. We want the grove, the indoor classes, and all the good times ahead with the new friendships that we make. And it's time for us to protect that and represent that for every single student that we're representing. You guys know, I feel the range of my time.
Thank you. We will now begin a roll call vote on SR 21-2CW. Please respond with aye, no, or abstain when the clerk calls the roll.
Emlon. Ashmore.
Aye.
Beard. Aye. Burgess. Aye. Cooper. DeQuilla. Aye. DeBelle.
Aye.
Day.
Aye.
Dedman.
Aye.
Dermody.
Aye.
Drury.
No.
Gillen.
No.
Gully.
Aye.
Harris. Hertz. Aye. Hallwell.
Aye.
Howell.
No.
Jackson.
No.
Johnston. Aye. Jones Burdick. Aye. Kelly. Aye. King. Ladner.
No.
Lampkin. Lopez.
Aye.
Madsen.
Aye.
McClendon.
Aye.
Miles.
Aye.
Monroe.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Neighbors. Aye. Nelson.
No.
Patterson.
No.
Ricketts.
No.
Rosie.
No.
Roebuck,
No.
Ross,
No.
Ryan,
Aye.
Saloon,
Nay.
Scott,
No.
Stratton,
Aye.
Wall,
No.
Watts,
Aye.
Williams,
No.
Wilson,
Aye.
Wink,
Nay.
Wood.
No.
With a vote of 26 to 18, SR 21-2CW, the ayes have it. Thus, this resolution shall be considered passed through the committee of the whole. Are there any additional matters of business to be considered in this committee of the whole? Hearing no other motions, if there are no objections, the chair of the committee of the whole shall report the findings of this committee to the Senate Assembly after routine proceedings have resumed. Finally, if there are no objections, I will establish the aforementioned report of this committee as follows. Quote, the committee of the whole was convened on September 14, 2021 at 7:11 p.m. in order to consider Senate Resolution 21-2CW. The committee of the whole passed CR 21-2CW entitled A Resolution of the Associated Student Body Senate recognizing the University of Mississippi Faculty Senate's resolution on the University of Mississippi COVID-19 vaccination policy. The committee resolved with no objections to reconvene at 9:04 p.m. Thus, chair's report shall include the language as previously stipulated in the quote. I will now hear a motion to resolve this committee of the whole and reconvene as the Senate Assembly. Do I hear that motion? Is there a second? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. It is in my opinion that the ayes have it. Therefore, this committee of the whole shall stand resolved in a motion to reconvene at 4:09 p.m.
All right. The Senate Assembly is reconvened at 9:05 p.m. I will now acknowledge the President Pro Tempore to report the findings of the Committee of the Whole.
The Committee of the Whole was convened on September 14, 2021 at 7:11 p.m. in order to consider SR 21-2CW. The Committee of the Whole passed SR 21-2CW entitled A Resolution of the Associated Student Body Senate recognizing the University of Mississippi Faculty Senate's resolution on the University of Mississippi COVID-19 vaccination policy. The committee resolved to reconvene at 9:04 p.m.
Thank you. If there are no objections, I will accept the report of the Committee of the Whole. Seeing as how the report of the Committee of the Whole has been accepted, Senate Resolution 21-2CW is now considered passed by the ASB Campus Senate. The clerk will now stipulate how these measures will be renumbered for entry into the record.
The Senate resolution will be renumbered from 21-2CW to Senate Resolution 21-10.
Thank you. All right. We have one more item of business to address, so just stick with us. All right. As mentioned like 2 hours ago in the report of the Committee on Rules, a recommendation has been made by Secretary Caitlin Hayward and a vote by the Committee on Rules for the removal of Senator Jonah King for the accumulation of 5 absences. According to the ASB Code, Title II, Subtitle A, Section 107, entitled Duties of a Senator, quote, 1, a 2/3 vote by all Senate members present shall be required to expel a senator. And 2, a senator recommended for expulsion has the option to resign or speak for him or herself at the Senate meeting before the vote on expulsion. Neither of those, or excuse me, the senator has not resigned to the secretary, and he is absent tonight. So I will now turn it over to Secretary Hayward to add anything that you'd like to add.
Hey, y'all, real quick, Jenna King has not been here, y'all probably don't even know, because he hasn't even been, inaugurated, so I hope you vote in favor to expel him.
All right.
Thank you.
Is there anyone wishing to debate this recommendation? All right, if there are no objections, Senator Jonah King will hereby be removed from the ASB Campus Senate. All right, hearing none, the senator is expelled. We will now move into a period of senatorial comments. Is there anyone wishing to comment? Yes, Senator Mattson.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm talking, but I put something in the group meet about the Oxford Community Market. So they're in a competition right now with like some Colombian farmers market. I don't know, but it's for federal funds. So if you could take maybe like 3 seconds to go in there, put your name, your email, and you can click the little thing so you don't get email notifications for it. Like they get like $3,500. But if you guys follow them on Instagram, they put up like 20 new posts in the past two days about it. So that'd be awesome if you guys could do that. But besides that, nothing else.
You yield your time. All right, thank you. Senator Emlong.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I really want to give a shout out to Clark for really just going hard. He's the hardest worker in this room, not from anyone else. But I just really want to give a shout out to that. Super proud of the bill we passed, or the resolution we passed today. Really proud of the 2 authors. Yeah, that's all. Thank you. Yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Senator Jones Burdick.
Hi, you all. Obviously, I'm really proud of the fact that this resolution passed. However, for those who go to know, now is the time that we make sure that we're more active than ever, getting our constituents' voice in there. So should this mandate come into real play on our university's page, that we can share our constituents' voice with what those policy exemptions will be. Please do not be discouraged. Please keep, you all really, truly, this has been a wonderful Senate. I know it's long and you want me to shut up so we can get out of here. But when I say now is the time, now's the time. And I'm really proud of you all and I thank you so much. I give the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Osmond.
I'm really proud of y'all. It was kind of honestly nice to stand up there and just like bird's eye view. But I'm really proud of y'all. Really productive debate. I know like for some people you voted yes, I'm really glad that your voice was heard. The others that voted no, your voice was still heard. And I hope that you make the movements to do what you want to do. But in the end, really proud of y'all. We have a great Senate, and I'm glad tonight happened because it really showed how powerful we are and how much people are watching us. So please do what you learned that day. You'll do.
Thank you, Senator Osmond. Senator Neighbors.
Briefly, Anastasia said most of it, like, this is the time now, look at what our resolution said and explain it to your constituents. So many times, people do not know how to read legislation, they don't know what it means, they don't know the implications behind it. That is your job, explain that to your constituents, so we don't get as much hate as we might. Thank you.
You yield your time, Senator Neighbors? Sure, okay.
Oh, I yield the remainder.
All right. Is there anyone else wishing to make a comment? Senator Mattson?
Okay, one last thing. I know after all of that, we're bringing back an old tradition. Okay, I remember the remainder of my time.
Senator Neighbors?
Sit after dark! If you'd like to join and you are, have a piece of identification of your age, we'd love to have you at any point later tonight.
I need a drink.
You yield your time?
I yield the remainder of my time.
You'll get there. All right. Anybody else? If y'all just bear with us for 1 second, is there anyone else wishing to make a comment? Okay, seeing none, we will now move into a period of announcements. If y'all just allow me a couple minutes, it's already 9:12, so I'll be brief. First and foremost, will you all please join me in giving a round of applause to President Pro Tempore Osmond for tonight? I think she did a wonderful job. Maybe now she knows why this get a little nervous. So, but thank you very much for leading that. First, before I start my announcements, is there anyone wishing to make an announcement? Amy.
Vice President Richard, can you hear me okay? Yes, okay, perfect. So I just wanted to give a quick announcement while y'all were debating and questioning and doing all those great senator things. Vice Chancellor Pegues did sign Senate Bill 21-15, and I've gotten the notification that the Chancellor has opened it and viewed it, and his personal assistant told me he is printing it tomorrow. So hopefully it will be fully signed by tomorrow. So just wanted to give you all that exciting announcement. It'll be the first piece of fully signed legislation here by the end of the week. So that's an announcement for y'all. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Amy. First off, just a couple things before we get out of here. I know Lila knows this. We both wanted to jump into debate so bad tonight. We wish we could, but just to touch on one thing, I don't want to call anybody out, but please know that you guys, what you do in this room is never useless. Your opinion always has value, no matter if you're the only one in the room that thinks that. Just because, something, once it gets to somebody who, has a way higher salary than any of us' desk, maybe he doesn't sign it, or maybe it does get signed. Just know that you guys were elected and your job is not useless, regardless of if there's any tangible thing that happens afterwards. This is such an important role that you guys play. I hope y'all know that. Obviously, that transitions into a little bit of how proud I am of all y'all for tonight. And I don't mean that to be like, degrading or anyway, but I'm just so proud of y'all. This debate was just so awesome, regardless of whichever side you were on. I just can't thank y'all enough for that. And so a couple of housekeeping things. Legislative aid applications. I want y'all to know we have 31 legislative aid applications. Yeah. So Olivia and I are working on starting interviews for that. So we will keep y'all updated. The Research and Development Council will be back soon, and y'all won't have to take minutes at your committee meetings much longer. Also, please be aware of the progress you're making towards your constituency engagement requirement. If anytime you have a question, like Abby mentioned earlier in the group me, if you have a question about your progress, you can ask her and she can tell you how many you have left to go. Amy made her routing announcement. With the expulsion of Jonah King tonight, we will have